Hi guys, it's me again, Inspirational post by Leverson. I just want to get into this quickly, okay? You know what, just to let you know what's strange? Strangest thing is that if you make a mistake, people never ever want to forgive you or forget, which I find that has got to be one of the hardest things to try and turn your life around. Because if you go for a job, I mean, even if it's something, without like murdering somebody. You can murder somebody accidentally, kill somebody accidentally, should I say. You could kill somebody accidentally where you never meant to do it. Not saying I've done anything like that at all. I'm just holding my hands up and saying, but obviously I've done things wrong, and um, and got a court, been to courts, got a police record and all that sort of thing, being locked up in the cells and all that sort of nonsense. But you know what? So obviously I've got a criminal record, right? So even though, say that was 20, 25, 30 years ago, people will still not let you forget it because it's always there on your record, and you always have to submit it, and you've got to be transparent, which I don't mind about that anyhow, because I'm open about the stuff that I've done, and I will do a thing about the things that I've done also. But you know what? The strange thing about it is that it seems like obviously that'll follow you throughout your life, and that's the first thing that they see. They'll look at a piece of paper, they'll scroll down it, they'll take a look, they'll read, and even though you've changed your life around completely, they still see that. A lot of people still see it, and they don't want to give you a chance. They don't want to give you an opportunity to actually change things that you did when you was a kid. I know loads of people that have done this, and some bright, intelligent people that are great in the community and help lots of people from the old to the young, right? But the thing is, why is it that just because you've made a mistake, that people still don't want to give you a chance? You know what? That is why, right, there's a lot of times where people themselves have to create their own. And that's something that I've always had to do. I've had to create my own. And because of that, I've always had to go more self-employed because of that. Because even though I'm not the person that I was, and I never will be the person that I was, because we all go through things, sorry, as kids, as adolescents, as teens, as kids, and we get ourselves into, a bit of bother. And sometimes it can either send you down the wrong path all the way, and you stay in that momentum, you stay in that groove, you stay in that vibe, or you get away from it. And if you get away from it, and then you rebuild yourself, or you rebrand yourself, or you reboot yourself, you just re-educate yourself, that is the greatest thing that you can do. But still, people will just see that on a bit of paper, and all they will think about is, oh, okay, back in the 80s you did this, back in the 90s you did this, back in the 2000s you did this, and so on, so on. Back in the 60s you did this, back in the 40s you did this. So all they're looking at is a piece of paper. Sometimes they're not even looking at the person, because they just see this and they're just reading off black and white, instead of really getting to know the person, sitting down and really having a serious conversation with that person and really finding out about them. But then if you've got somebody that's, because you never know if somebody is going to commit a crime or do something, because sometimes things happen through circumstance, and it is sometimes things are out of your control, but you get wrapped up in it. But if you're part of that scene, you get dragged into it as well, and it happens. But it is all about choices, don't get me wrong. But people will never let you forget it. Some, that is, some. I don't think there's anything better or greater than actually turning yourself around and building yourself, and then having other people work for you. And that shows that what sort of person that you really are, because now you're giving other people opportunity, even though people weren't willing to give you the opportunity. And there are some great people out there that have got mad creativity, have got mad skills, mad intelligent, but just because of way back when they chose that wrong moment in time and they got caught up, it doesn't mean to say that they're not going to change. And this is when we have to just look at people seriously, even the youth. We've got to look at these kids, because all it is, sometimes you're crying out for things. You're crying out because you haven't had enough money, and you haven't had the sort of backing from your parents, because your parents were just trying to work as hard as they possibly could to put food on the table. And yes, sometimes you can't have all the expensive trainers or the expensive clothes or anything else, because they're just trying to keep a roof over your head. And sometimes this is what a lot of people don't realize, and they just think it's a quick, easy solution. No, it isn't a quick, easy solution. When you're in a sort of area, it could be the private area to a wealthy area, who's going to get all the breaks? Because you've never had to want or need or think about you've got no electric, or you've got no money, you can't buy milk or bread, you know, the basics, can of beans or whatever it might be. And sometimes we look at people and we just think, you know what, just because of a piece of paper that people look at, they see the paper, they don't see the person. And this is what most people have to realize and thinking when they just say, oh, just lock them up, lock them up, lock them up. Imagine if I was just locked up and the people just threw the key away and people just thought, you know what, he's no good. But I had to re-educate myself. I had to do it by myself, for myself. I didn't go down and have to beg, borrow and steal to do what I had to do. I had to save to do what I had to do to get myself out of the circumstances that I was in. Because once you go down that road, it is hard. So anybody that's been in trouble with the law, all I can say is, you know, build your own, because there is a success story waiting to happen for you. Your own success will be your opportunity, and you will make your own opportunity. So that's all it comes down to. Just make sure that you can. So that's all you have to do. Not all you have to do. You've got to do a bit more than that anyhow. But it's just about timing. That's all. It's about timing. And sometimes we have to take a long, hard look at ourselves and say, right, what do I really want? And find out what you want. You know, you've got a talent. You know, you've got a skill. Then it's about honing it. It's then, obviously, you get around the right people that aren't just going to be laid back and stoned all day long and just not doing anything to help you out of it. You've got to go with a clear head and a clear vision, or you just can't be sitting up just drinking and getting caned all the time and thinking, right, because it's just going to be a groundhog day. You're just going to be doing the same thing, then the same thing will happen on the weekend, then it'll happen midweek, and it goes a little bit longer, or you're shoving stuff up your nose and all that sort of nonsense. But if you've got a clear plan, you've got a skill, all you've got to do, even if you do that same bit of paper, write down something that you really want to do, and go ahead and build your own and do it for yourself. I never thought that I'd have a pancake business in a million years. I never thought that. I never thought that I'd be working in a school, but I had to go back and re-educate myself to do these things so that I could put food on the table. If I hadn't, I don't know where I would have been. I probably would have been one of those statistics of one of the people that was locked up because of choices that I made when I was younger, because nobody's willing to give me a chance. So I had to go back and see where my skills were, see what my skill sets was all about, and go with that, because I know that I'm good with kids. I know that I'm good with, obviously, children helping. I know very good at sports, very good at sports, love sports to death. So from that, go back, get my badges, get all the right qualifications that I needed, and I went down that road instead. Then I just had to cold call, and I was knocking on doors, and eventually somebody took me on, because they will, because you know what, they'll know somebody like you. Sometimes somebody will know somebody like you, and once they see you operate, then it opens up bigger doors for you. But don't ever think that, you know, you don't leave it too late. You know, start now. Re-educate yourself in what you have to do with your skill sets to take it to a next level where you can be of service to somebody else. Then you've built your business. It's going to start off small, but it will grow. You could have one business, you could have two businesses, depending on what your skill set is. I never thought that I'd be doing pancakes and doing street food and doing events and doing weddings and people having me, you know, serving to their guests on the most important day of their life, which it is for some people when you're getting married, you know. And so it's like, you know, you get married, you have your children, days that you don't forget. Those days are very important. So for doing things like that, for me, it's absolutely amazing that me with a prison record, that people would think, oh, okay, then I'll allow this guy, even though, because they don't know my background on that, they just see a guy that's good at doing this. Nobody's asking me, oh, by the way, were you ever in trouble? They're not asking for a CV. They just see that I've done something when I'm at a festival or somewhere else, or at an event, and somebody comes up because I've had a conversation with a few people, and they say, oh, by the way, I'll say, by the way, there's my business card. And people will come and ask me, have you got a business card? Yes, there you go. Give them a business card. And the next thing you know, it might be a few months, it could be a year later. Oh, by the way, do you remember me? I was at such and such an event. Or they'll email me, or they'll do it through Facebook, because that's what I use Facebook for anyhow, is for events and business. Instagram for events and business, and apart from when I do my runs, to give other people motivation so that you too can do something positive. So once I've done that and I hand it over, and then they phone up and say, oh yeah, by the way, can you do this event? Yeah, not a problem. What date is it? Look at my diary. Am I clear? Yes. Jot them in. Pay their deposit, and away I go. 14 days before the event, they pay the rest of the money, and I go and I serve and I do an absolutely outstanding job. So I gave myself that opportunity because I couldn't wait on anybody else to wait for an opportunity. I had to build my own opportunity, and you too can build your own opportunity. So don't just think just because things are written down on a piece of paper about you when you were younger, even when you were older. Get out of the sort of self-pity party brigade within yourself and say, you know what, I can do this. I can do it. I can build something, and I can build something great. I can build something great, and that's how you have to think about it, because no one else is actually going to come and give it to you. There'll be nobody riding up on a white horse or a black horse or whatever and saying, you know what, jump on board, we're going to go and conquer, we're going to do this, and I've got this just for you. No, you've got to find your own horse. You might start out on a donkey, but that donkey that you've started at is still going the direction you want to steer it into. So you just steer your own donkey in the right way, then your donkey moves onto a horse, then your horse moves onto a car, then your car moves onto a plane. Then next thing you know, you're flying high, you're on a rocket ship, you're on a different planet altogether. So listen, have faith in yourself. Don't worry about the mistakes that you've made. As long as you haven't killed nobody and you've gone out there to murder or maim or really hurt intentionally, everybody can change. So listen, on that note, inspirational post by Leverson. You too can build a great future for yourself. So as I said, it's like-minded people, creative people. Creative people sometimes do make mistakes. My hands are up. So inspirational post daily. As I said, don't give up, don't stop. You too can do it. Mistakes does not make the man or woman. Take care. Bye. Oh, see you tomorrow.